Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. If this is your first time checking out a video, please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. We're watching a clip of First Things First with Nick Wright and Broussard talking about who's the front runner and who's going to win the MVP in the NBA. As you can see on the screen, we got Luka, SGA, Jokic, Giannis, Tatum, and it's one of those things where it already feels like a foregone conclusion, really, like no matter where the standings are in terms of whether or not the Thunder are above Denver or, wherever, honestly, or how much leading the Celtics are in terms of the best record in the NBA as a whole. It just feels like everybody is so focused on Jokic and sees Jokic as essentially the best player in the NBA right now because he does everything, because he rebounds, because he scores, because he can also shoot, because he can also rebound and assist. It's just like they see him as doing so much more. And when you're doing so much more, by definition, you are the most valuable player. Not to mention, a lot of people think that he should have got it last season, that it was more about Perkins and this whole idea of racism, and it scared everyone to vote for Jokic again to be the MVP. So I'm really curious to see how Nick and Brew break this down. Let's take a look, and then we'll go from there.
Jokic, who I famously believed in before anyone, once called Jordan-esque per Sports Illustrated, is favored at -125. He's averaging 26, 12, and 9, followed by SGA, Luka, then Giannis, then quite a gap to Tatum at 5th. Brew, who is most likely to steal the MVP from Nikola Jokic?
I'm going to surprise you.
Okay.
And I've got reasons why I'm not saying this guy, that guy, that guy. I won't go there because I don't know what your pick is. But I'm going to go with Jason Tatum.
Oh, wow.
Now, I think Luka, and I'm a voter, not Luka, Jokic is the front runner.
Yep.
And it's weird because the 26 points in today's NBA doesn't seem like a ton. Now, he's 14th in the league in scoring. Yeah. But 26 points, 12 boards, 9 assists, 58% shooting. But I think he's the front runner. But after him, I think Tatum should be higher. I don't know that he should be second, but I think he should be higher on that list. Now, here's the thing, and we talked about it a bit earlier. All you heard this week at All-Star Weekend was Tatum talking about being the MVP or why he doesn't get enough love. It reminds me of Joel Embiid a year ago.
Oh.
Like, Embiid was all but begging for the MVP award. And I'm telling you, I do believe Jason Tatum, he wasn't begging, but all this talk, and now it's really out there, like, why isn't Jason Tatum being talked about as an MVP? Why isn't he in the conversation? I think that's going to put him in the conversation. They have the best record by a mile. They're on pace to win 64. Let's say they win 65, 66 games. Now, that's hard to deny. He's clearly their best player, 27, 8, and 5, and he's leading them in the points, rebounds, and assists. So I think that with all the chatter kind of putting him in the discussion now, and then they're having the best record by a good margin, and then his numbers and him leading them in so many categories, I think he's going to rise in the rankings. Now, I still think Jokic would win it over him, but I'm going to go with Tatum.
Okay, so the pushback I would have on the Tatum-Embiid comp is that Embiid had finished second back-to-back years before he ended up winning it.
Right.
Tatum, I looked it up yesterday when we were talking about this, has never even gotten one.
Yeah, Embiid has also been an absolute dominant force, especially on a team with the Sixers who has no one, okay? So it's like he's so much more deserving of the MVP, and I'm not even going to debate that, quite honestly. And so this idea that he was like begging for the MVP or undeserving from the MVP is just absurd, and he would be winning the MVP this season if he didn't get injured, unfortunately. So it's just kind of weird to me. The issue with with Jason Tatum is that they're winning and they're playing great, and the Celtics are playing great, but they're not necessarily seeing it as he's leading the charge. It's not that he's not leading the charge, but they don't see it, it's not perceived that, this is all Jason Tatum's doing. that he's not the one, that it's just like, get on my back, let's go, let's do this. Everyone sees Jokic as this unique factor that the Denver Nuggets are who they are because of Jokic. That if you take away Jokic, the Denver Nuggets are literally nothing, and that you can't replace another player with with Jokic and be the Denver Nuggets. The Celtics, on the other hand, and I love Jason Tatum and think he's great. The perception is that we could switch out maybe Jason Tatum and put another really nice, great key player, whoever that may be. I mean, who knows? Put Tyrese Maxey in there. Maybe the Celtics are maybe just as good or just about good. Again, I'm trying to think of like a lower level player who's not like another big star necessarily. That's kind of more the perception. Take that, compare that to now also with Embiid. All the Sixers' success is seen as because of Embiid. Embiid's now not playing, and the Sixers have just plummeted. If Jason Tatum wasn't playing, a lot of people would argue that the Celtics would still be competitive and would probably be better, not better, but they would be better than the Denver Nuggets without Jokic and the Sixers without Embiid. The drop-off wouldn't be as significant. Again, whether that's true or not, it actually is irrelevant because it's all about the perception. The MVP case is all about perception. So even though the Celtics are doing great and they're the best team in the NBA right now, and definitely by record, it's still not. I mean, think about it, how the Timberwolves right now are leading the West, and yet no one's up there for them to be MVP. You have Luka's up there and Giannis is up there, and it's like, why not the Timberwolves? But no one from the Timberwolves. So that's why I think there's really no chance. I don't think there's any dark horse. I don't think anyone's more likely to do anything because it's Jokic. Maybe if OKC took off and now, captures first place by like 5 games or something, which I guess theoretically is possible, and maybe they end up having the best record in the NBA, maybe, and SGA just goes off. And then, in the last 10 games of the season, which again is going to be hard because they're going to have potentially their seeding solidified. I don't know. It all depends on how the season ends. But he just goes off and is just putting up points left and right, 35, 40, crazy 55-point game, and just has all these wow moments, not unlike when you're picking, who's going to win the Heisman Trophy. Maybe, and then everyone gets kind of excited at this idea of a different MVP rather than just giving it to Jokic again. But it feels like such a foregone conclusion that it just doesn't seem that it's possible that anyone is going to be able to take this from Jokic. And truthfully, when Embiid was playing what he was doing, his historic numbers and scoring, I mean, it wasn't even Jokic. Jokic wasn't even close to Embiid. Embiid was absolutely seen as the front runner, the significant front runner to win. But of course, he got injured. So I think right now it's for the NBA right now is for Jokic, and not only Jokic but the Denver Nuggets as a whole, to just make it their team, to make it their league, to be kind of the next evolution of the Golden State Warriors. Jokic is the MVP. People feel like they have to go through Denver. People are most afraid of, say, a Jokic. They're more afraid of playing Jokic in the playoffs than playing SGA, Luka, Giannis, Jason Tatum. There's the fear factor of how can we stop not only the team of the Denver Nuggets, but how do we stop Jokic, which was very similar to when Golden State took over, and it was like, how do we stop Steph Curry? People feared Steph Curry because the guy just shot and just made every single shot. I mean, how many times did we see the highlights of the defender just drop their head because they jump up and they quickly turn around to see if he's going to make it, and then he drains this crazy three from 100 feet out, and they just drop, and then they look at someone else to be like, you're supposed to step up, what are you doing? And it was just so demoralizing. You were just so dejected. And in fact, most coaches had to be like, we know Steph is going to score, we know Steph is going to make crazy shots, do not beat yourself up, you have to stay focused. That was coaching 101 for those teams to be like, we know he's going to make these insane shots. We know he's going to go off and make, back-to-back threes. You do not, let that unravel you. But it always managed to. Jokic is building that aura right now as well, where it's just like, we know Jokic is going to be doing some extraordinary things. We know he's going to put up points. We know he's going to get assists. We know he's going to get rebounds. We know he's going to get everyone involved, and that the Nuggets are going to be firing at all cylinders. So I think there's just a greater fear factor of the Nuggets and Jokic than anyone else, which then also makes your MVP case significantly stronger. People are not fearing the Celtics, even though technically they're the best team in the NBA. People are not fearing Oklahoma City Thunder. They're not fearing the Milwaukee Bucks. They're not fearing Luka and the Dallas Mavericks. So that's what it comes down to. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, please let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing, then definitely please let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. Thank you so much, and see you next time.